BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. Welcome to this episode of 50 Minutes of Experience. Today I'm with Marcus Valderrama. It's pretty morning, so we can hear the chicken sounds, but it's the pretty funny part of the podcast. So welcome to this podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So I'm happy to have you here today. Today we talk a bit about you, a bit about your experience as a photographer, not only. I would like if you can say something about you, who you are, what you do, and a bit of information.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Marcus Valderrama. I am a street photographer, mainly based in San Francisco, California, but I've been on Oahu in Hawaii for like the past month or so, and just working on a project, but also just doing my regular work. So working remotely because we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm allowed to work remotely from out here for the time being. I'd say that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, so you are a full-time photographer.
No, I work in software.
Okay.
But I wish one day that's the plan. But for right now, I work in software and I do photography for fun, and I do some like portrait sessions here and there for money, but not enough to pay any bills by any means.
Okay. No, just I mean, just curiosity. Even this podcast, I'm like to collect to understand how people survive, and I mean, also for me, it's personal things I'm interested in, and yeah, it's pretty funny because a lot of people work in software engineering, cyber engineering. They like to do photography in the other side. I mean, I know a lot of people here in Berlin, for example. They come to my meetup. They work almost everyone in relative to software, or they doing something related to that, and they come to the meeting of photography. It's quite funny that things. So let's start a bit to talk about your photography. So what to say? You're a street photographer. I can say that you work pretty much also in analog, and I want to ask you to start to tell me who you think you are if you watch your picture.
Who would I think I was? Or I'm sorry, what was the
Yeah,
question exactly?
who you are if you watch at your picture. If you watch at your picture, what the person you think the people you are.
Oh, like as another, like in comparison to another photographer.
No, a comparison to I mean, it's a, we have an idea of who we are, and then our picture reflect in a way part of ourselves. So I mean,
Oh,
it's a
I,
rhetorical question that also I'm provoking a bit you. Then we can a bit jump and have fun on that also.
I think people would think that I'm very curious, and uh, I'm not necessarily like a confrontational person. I mean, if you look at my photos, I get close, but I'm not necessarily taking advantage of any sort of situations that people in misrepresented or bad situations. A lot of the photos that I choose to show are kind of funny. I try to be unique, but I just like catching funny situations or unique situations as much as possible. So just someone who's more so curious than anything else.
Okay. So yeah, I can say it's reflecting a bit that your picture. So it's you are not far away from watching yourself. So I'm curious to ask you, what do you look at? Then something can surprise you.
I think it's just mm, finding like unique people or unique situations going on and just trying to make the most of it, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, a lot of times I'll just come across people dressed in a funny way or doing some sort of unique action and trying to just place myself in the right place to make a good photo, or at least what I'd like to consider a good photo.
Okay. So
Yeah.
and usually when you do it portrait, now I'm watching at your portrait on website. What do you do? Imagine that I'm in the street and you want to take a portrait of me. What do you say?
A lot of times, I mean, I'll just go up to people if I think that they're dressed in a unique way or they have some sort of look. I can't really describe what that look is, but to me, I just see it, and a lot of times I'll just go up to them point blank and just ask, hey, may I take your portrait, or I like this about you, can I take a picture of you, things like that. A lot of portraits too are people that I may know, like friends of mine. So that's something that I wouldn't say is one of my strengths, but I'm looking to get better at in 2022 is just getting better at portraits in general. But I wouldn't say it's any of my it's one of my strengths quite yet, but hopefully I progress a bit this year.
Okay. So I happened never that you say to someone, "Hey, you look so weird with this clothes. Can I take a picture of you? I like how much you're weird," or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much like, hey, I think you're weird, but it's like, oh, like your shirt is really unique or your hat is really unique or something like that. Like it's more so like giving a compliment because I don't want them to feel like I'm disrespecting them in any sort of way. It's just more so uh there is something that I like about it, even if it is weird. It's weird doesn't always mean that it's bad. It could mean that it's like different or it's one of a kind, and I want to capture that moment in time because I may never come across somebody wearing that particular type of item again or something of that nature.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a word can have a double sense. I mean, it can be positive, can be negative. That perception. Uh,
Exactly.
so, I mean, it's always how we wanna figure out what someone is saying to us. I like a lot. There's a series of picture you made of people with the slogan or just sentences. I love. I'm scrolling to them on your website. I have now in front of me this one: "The blood of Jesus cleanses sin, holy people." 1 and 1 John. It's a really funny collection, and
Oh yeah.
I always thought about doing open call of slogan on T-shirt. I mean, I would love to doing a book of only picture of people, the most weird things you ever found on T-shirt. I think
Yeah, it
really, really funny. The message you can find it because I saw stuff really not crazy, more.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I've been getting into thrifting a lot more recently, and just going through all the t-shirts, there's always a bunch of weird ones or unique sayings, and once you see people on the street wearing them, I always try to get a photo if I can, but it doesn't always work out the way I want. But I know what you mean. It would be a pretty cool series if you had people from like all across the globe with different photos of people wearing t-shirts that had weird sayings. That would make a really good book one day, or a really cool zine or something like that.
Yeah, I think always about when I do it a book, it's maybe the best way also to have a bit of fun. I mean, it's really rarely to find books, especially of photography, that they engage a bit of fun inside. I mean, if we look at the picture of Martin Parr and book of him, yeah, there's a lot of fun. But usually it's not like that. I mean, there's always these vibes of people want to do it serious things, you know. Lately,
Yeah.
just some months ago, I printed out a fanzine just for fun, It's this one now. I'm doing a giveaway. It's an edited tin, and I put it inside just picture collected from other photographer friends or people I met in the podcast. I said to them, okay, just send me some random picture, the most crazy things you have. And I put it down, this funny fanzine. And yeah, that start with the welcome, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, and the cover, there's the ape with the dick pending there. So, and I always think about, okay, when I have to have a book, yeah, for sure I look for also the aesthetics of pictures, but I will love to have something that I watch and I smile.
Yeah.
It's really something impressive in a way. I'm curious to ask you how much you select your picture, because on your Instagram I can feel it that there's a lot of selection. So two are the reason: or you do shoot really less, or you select a lot.
I would say I'm very selective once it comes to what I put out there into like the universe. There's like only a select few people that get to see like the raw and uncut work. Uh, but the ones I'm very selective once it comes to what I put online, like either whether it's on my website or on my Instagram, just because I don't know. I hold myself to a pretty high standard once it comes to photography, just because I've looked at a lot. I own a lot of photo books. Like I've looked through a lot of photo books. Like I studied the greats, and like I strive to like even make a photo anywhere close to what the kind of photos that they make, like a Martin Parr, like a Elliot or like a Winogrand. Like those are all people that I like really look up to, and to be able to make a photo of that magnitude is like kind of what I strive for. So if I feel like it doesn't live up to that standard, then like I'm not going to necessarily share it right now. I might share it like later on. But I also have like, there are a lot of pictures that I keep to myself because I want to use it for a project, whether it be like a zine or a book later on. So
Yeah.
like I don't want to put it out there because I feel like once it's out there, then people have seen it already. So one day,
I
if I
mean,
do,
in my
yeah,
in my experience, I was to say to you, I was thinking like that. Then I started to think about that probably who buy the book is for sure not the one is following me on Instagram. And I'm 90% sure about that, because I've seen, I mean, I know who buy the books from me, and there are people, most of the time, they don't have social networks, they don't look a lot in the internet. They prefer much more to have the print in the hand. So it's sometimes, I mean, I'm totally agree to keep something secret and then to push them out. But I'm also from the point to say, probably, yeah, you're showing something you think is the best, but probably the best then is not there. And you're
yeah.
keeping too long to show them.
No, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, there are a lot of photos. Like, for instance, I just got Daniel Arnold's book that came in for me yesterday. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but I just got his book yesterday. And there are photos for sure that I've seen of his that he put on his Instagram or on his website or whatever. But it still didn't necessarily like ruin the book for me. Like I thought that the book was really good, like it was exceptional, and like he's somebody I've looked at his work for many years, and I've really enjoyed it. And just to see it in print and to be able to spend like more time with it and like almost like a more personal time with it was really great. I mean, the entire book was great, but I think it's a lot different of an experience to look at a print rather than like look at your phone or look at a phone screen. I think you can be easily distracted once you look at Instagram or you look at somebody's website and just like open a new tab and go somewhere else or have music playing in the background. But once you're looking at a book, you're kind of just in that zone of like studying the photo or looking at the photos and really just taking it in. So I get your point. I mean, that's something that I was thinking about last night too, is like maybe I should be sharing more of my work that I will be sharing later in a book or a zine, even though like I might be kind of scared, but maybe that's partly because I I could be insecure about my work, and like that's why I don't want to always put it out there as much, because unfortunately like Instagram kind of, you know, it messes with your head if you're like really invested in it like that, where you're worried about likes or followers. And so like sometimes I don't want to put
Yeah,
something out
yeah. I
there.
mean, I don't know. I don't really care about comments, likes, and follow. For sure. Now, for example, I'm doing the giveaway, and yeah, I'm seeing that there is not a lot of people. I mean, it's not. I was not expecting to become famous with the giveaway, but you know, I was not also expecting that less than 50 people would a book. You know, a book that I spent 7 months to make it. So it's like, you know, pity situation, but. Yeah, this is also the other side of photography, you know. What I would advise in this case, I would say, I mean, as a curator and publisher, I would always say publish as much as you can in your life. I mean, because more people publish, more people are aware that buying books or zine or print means first to support the person doing that things. Second is in a way or another to select a kind of heritage of what we really like, and yeah, and also giving much more value to the what we watch. If I'm your follower in this case, no, and I think that you doing great picture, even if these picture are there on Instagram, I for sure buy also the zine because I want to see better. You know, I want to have a bit of my intimacy. I want to share with my friend. I want to share with the people who come at my place, and so on. This is the what I think. Yeah, it's always nice to publish because it's totally another feeling to touch the picture, to have big formats sometimes, even also to even better remember the picture. I think, yeah, if everyone remember the picture of Enrique Besson, it's because they are on many books, not because they are on many social media. You know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I talk probably the example not good, but let's talk about, for example, I don't know, Joel Merovitz. Okay, there are many books. Many people talk about it. Many people use it, so you can see it, and the picture stuck in your mind in a way. But it's really difficult to that picture of someone on internet stuck in your mind. In my case, that during the podcast, during the selection, and so on, it's pretty easy that I watch thousands of times the same profile page. Then I remember every picture. So when I see a picture, um, for example, in the Explorer, I think, okay, this is the picture of this guy. I mean, it's quite easy that I recognize the style, the movement, but I mean, it's something you have to do it every day to really then feel it. Anyway, what I want to ask you is there is something outside that you didn't catch until now, and you will absolutely catch it.
Oh, what was something? What? I'm sorry. Could you
I mean,
repeat your question?
there is something you didn't catch until now. I mean, you didn't shoot until now, and that you want absolutely doing in your life.
Oh, that's a great question. Hmm. All right. So there was one time once I was in San Francisco, I was walking down the street and there was a woman and she had a book. She was walking on the street and she had a book balanced on her head. And I tried to get it, but it just came out of, it was out of focus. Like I didn't get her in focus at all. And like, that's like one of those photos that I want somebody that's like balancing something on their head, like not holding it at all, just like walking or whatever with something on their head. Like Jeff Mermelstein is probably one of my favorite photographers, and like, he has all sorts of weird photos where people have like a book in their mouth or like holding money in their mouth, and just like something about like the head region and objects being around it but not being held by the hands is it's weird. It's like it's weird in a weird way. It's weird in like how I am saying it, and I want to get something like that. Yeah, I want to get something like somebody holding something, like balancing something on their head or holding something in their mouth. I haven't come across it yet.
Okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And I'm curious that in your experience in the street, in what you talk until now, there are some kind of scene that you think give you some lesson.
That gave me a lesson.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I last about a year ago, I was here on Oahu, and I took this photo of a woman who was standing outside of the store because she was wearing like one of those big sun hats. And I thought I would make a good photo with her standing in like the archway of this door. And I took the photo, and like as soon as I took the photo, I knew it wasn't going to be good because she had like a yoga pad or like a beach blanket or something that was blocking her face. So I was like, okay, this one is a dud. And then like a second later, I hear somebody yell like, "Hey, you just took a picture of my wife!" And then he like ran up to me, and he tried fighting me, and then like the cops got involved and all sorts of stuff like that. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned from that was not to hide my intent once I'm taking a photo. Like at this point, I've realized that most people know I'm there, and so it's kind of better to just almost invade their space. And if they say something, then like not to take the photo, but like I'm gonna take the photo at that point. If they don't acknowledge me, then they don't care. That's kind of like my attitude. So I'm gonna get close and I'm gonna take the photo, and and then the photo will live on forever on Instagram or wherever at that point
Yeah.
if it's good. So that's the biggest thing I learned in the street.
Before in the podcast with another one, we were talking about yeah, I mean, same topic. Book is really nice to have books. I said also that for me it's like kind of have an exhibition at your place wherever you want. But to jump to this other point, I also said something that you're probably someone will be upset about what I said, but I said, yeah, you know, many photographer I met, they say, yeah, they don't want to cross some border, or there is a kind of ethic in the street. So some of them, they don't shoot at homeless, they don't shoot at, I don't know, some kind of situation. And I said, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I shoot everything I want. I mean, I mean, even if someone come to me and I shoot a picture totally in front of the face, say to me, delete the picture. I set some button on the camera to just hide the picture, so they think it's deleted, but I don't delete. I mean, that's why I learned that after some years, no one will remember anymore anything. I mean, it's probably that after 1 week, no one remember anything.
Yeah.
Because we are totally in a world fully overdose. That yeah, it will be this a stranger, a fucking stranger took a picture of you. That's it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I just don't want to bum people's day out. Like, I don't want to ruin anybody's day, but I completely agree. Like, most people will forget within a week that that even happened. But it's just in that moment, that in that particular moment, that's like the only time I would ever debated on giving somebody like my roll of film or anything like that. But after that, it's kind of like flipped a switch for me. Like, all right, like I just gotta be honest with my intent and just get the shot. And like if they say something, then I can
Run,
apologize, but
run, run,
that's
run.
it. I'm not like, I'm
Just
just gonna
run.
go for it. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it at this point.
And what you also think it will be really exciting if someone one day say that, oh, I took a picture of you in the street. I mean, I always expect to scroll Instagram and find myself, I don't know, in the street of Berlin.
Yeah, I
Just,
mean, I definitely have been in San Francisco where I have had people take my photo, whether they like came up to me, they wanted to take my portrait, or they just they did it street street photography where they just
yeah,
like took my photo and walked away. And I've always wondered, like, I've never come across any of those photos. Like, I don't know where any of them live. I've never seen them on Instagram or on anybody's website or anything. So uh, it, at first I get shocked, but then I think about like how many photos of strangers do I have? Like it was inevitable at some point, just being out in public, just being out on the street, that somebody was going to take my photo without asking me. Like I kind of, it was inevitable. Like I can't get mad at it because I just do it so often. So
yeah.
it is what it is at this point.
And happened also to you that, I mean, something happened to me for years, and I was getting crazy about that. That you go usually, on the same area to shoot picture, and then yeah, I don't know, you took a picture of some stranger, and then you see this stranger, and you think that you know them, like like you've met them to take a beer or something like this, like for real. And happened to me something like this. I remember that I shot a picture of a woman at a tram station, and after probably some years, I've seen this woman in the metro line, and I thought about, oh fuck, I know this girl, but where I met this person, and I was so
Yeah.
struggling with myself, and I went to her and say, hey, you don't remember me? Yeah, and then after I talked with that person, that probably, yeah, she was lying because she said, yeah, yeah, maybe yes, yeah, or something like that. I I told her, da, 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 and then I realized that I never met that person. I just took a picture of her.
That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. I have come across situations where like I will repeatedly see like the same like characters over and over again or things like that. And like there's actually somebody out here who I took photos of him while he was playing chess. And then like I was walking down a completely different street like a couple weeks later, and he's like, I was taking a photo of somebody else, and then he's like, oh, that's gonna be a good photo. And I turn, I see him, and I was like, oh, dude, I took a photo of you like a couple of weeks ago. And he's like, oh yeah, send me those photos, like I'd love to see them. And I'm like,
The
all right,
real
for
the
sure.
real social network is there out in the street.
Yeah, it's out there, it's alive, it's in real life. So it's a great thing. But
Yeah,
it's funny when you come across those people you see repeatedly or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty great.
yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I mean, it's really a nice feeling to stay in the street. I mean, in a way, if you go walk on the same street, some people kind of know you, or they might think that they know you, and this create also, this feeling to be really feel present in the situation, in the neighbor. Uh, I mean, you feel at home, I think, totally. I don't know if you are basically from San Francisco, but here that I'm not from Berlin, but I'm here from some years. Uh, I really like that. Maybe yeah, people don't know me, but I totally have the stamp of them face in my mind. So I feel like pretty at home, because I see this face and it's kind of I know them. And,
Yeah,
and
no,
then happened in another city. I was living in another city, and then when I go in that city and I go in a bar, for example, in a cafe, and I found the same person still working there, I feel like, wow, cool.
yeah, no, it's always great running into like the same people working at the same shops or what have you. I always enjoy that. Like it definitely feels more like a community, especially in cities like San Francisco or Berlin that like are constantly changing or gentrification is happening or things like that. Like to see like familiar characters and to know that they're still around is it's a beautiful thing because it gives like some sort of feeling of stability in those places.
Yeah. So I come across two questions. First one is, Have you ever thought to document your daily life? I mean, not the street life of other people, but yourself.
Hmm. I mean, I don't really think so. I feel like my life, like I think I do some sort of things that are exciting outside of like my street life, but for the most part, I I like to keep them kind of to myself. I mean, there is a series I'm working on that's like on being kind of like road trips and camping and being on the road. That I want to put out a zine or a book this year that I've been working on for a while. But like outside of that, I feel like my everyday life is pretty ordinary. You know, I go to the gym, I go to work, I cook at home. It's like I don't really, I'll document it for myself more than anything, but I feel like it's pretty regular a
Yeah.
lot of the times.
I'm curious because yeah, it's you have a kind of straight line. I think as the job you do it. I mean, it's always probably the same tram, no? I mean, change the task, but the position is there. Like me, I'm working most of the time in front of computer, so then it's not really this. I mean, change the task, but not the position.
Yeah,
Most of the
yeah,
time, I'm
exactly.
still with pajama and and working there, you know. So it's not changing a lot. But yeah, I'm always curious about the point of view of the photographer of them life. I think it's always nice to see your life from the point of view as to be also a photographer. I think it's really a challenge because it's really hard to doing that to document yourself. I mean, it's much more easy if you go out and you shoot a picture of other people, other things, other cities, and so on. But when you have to shoot in a way yourself, yeah, you have to be really. It's a real challenge. You have to keep.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely a challenge. I mean, I try to document things at home or if I'm with family and things like that, but my photos, they never come out quite the way I want them to. So
This is
it,
for sure. This is the
yeah,
story of my life.
yeah, for sure.
They never come up like I want. But what I learned is also that they will never come up like I want because the picture are in our mind are the reflection of what we see of others and not what we see of ourselves.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, this is the first point to learn when you want to do it to work as an outdoor photographer because otherwise you will struggle a lot with yourself until you know this kind of masochism that yeah, I mean it's masochism because you will continue to think about I know it's not enough, no, it's not good, this is not really, this is shit, but in the end you will never see yourself. You will just always search someone else.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. That's a good point.
And the other question was I have seen that you do it also some selection we can say on this collective buyer film.
Oh
It's the
yeah,
uh, help me to don't misspelling Bay Area film.
yeah, Bay Area film.
Yeah, and so then I keep this uh, occasion to ask you that if you would like to see something in particular from other photographer, if you think there is something that's really difficult for you to discover, and yeah, you will be really excited if you find out something like that, like what you have in your mind.
Oh man, that's a great question. So
Easy,
as like
easy
the
question you can find on Google if you want.
I mean, as like a moderator or like a curator for that page, like I because we're kind of limited in like the pool of people we can select because we only choose people that shoot photos in like the general Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And so we only have such a large pool of people whose work we could choose from. Um, but like the types of things that I look for, like I like things that are really gritty or have like an interesting story behind them. I mean, uh, I want things that are really beautiful in weird ways. Like I think a lot of the things that I choose are things that kind of reflect who I am. So like things that make me curious, things that will draw my attention. I think that, you know, some people can take photos of like really good still lifes and things of that nature, but that's not necessarily what I'm drawn to as a photographer or as a person. Like I can admire like a really good like garden, but like I'm not necessarily gardening. But like some people really love taking photos of like flowers
Yeah.
or things like that, and like that's just not me. So like that's not necessarily something that I'm selecting, you know what I mean? Like I like I've always, I'm from where I'm from, like, you know, classic cars have always been a part of the culture. So like I like classic cars, even though like that's an analog photographer, like you know, cliche, but like that's always been something that I've been into. But like I want like a unique photo of like an old lowrider, not necessarily just like another photo of a car in a driveway. So just things like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely like helped me as a photographer, like being a curator for a page, because it's that's also made me more selective in like the photos that my own photos in which I display. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Bay Area Film. Everybody go follow Bay Area Film. Uh, yeah,
I mean, it's a really cool page. I mean, I like. I for sure we follow. For sure, we take some inspiration for searching new also photographers to get in touch with. And last question, and last question that require a question. First, there are some photographer out there, a friend of you, non-photographer, where else, people that would you like to invite to this podcast? And then, if we invite them to this podcast, what will be the question you will give to them? I mean, it can be also a really shitty question that they are provoked from that. Yeah, I mean, you can have also fun in that.
um, I guess like one of them is like one of my best buddies who I shoot with pretty often, and his Instagram handle is at the real Tofe, a so TheRealTofe. He's like, that's like one of, I guess you could almost say he's like my sparring partner or something like that. You know, he's somebody I shoot with pretty often, and I would say he's also someone who shoots like almost strictly analog. And I would say like my question would be like, when are you going to go digital at this point? That'd probably be my question for him. uh yeah, I that yeah, I guess I'll end it there. I think that would be my person and my question.
Okay, cool. So later I will ask you to send me question and Instagram of this guy, and yeah, we will put him inside of this questioning. And yeah, thank you a lot for your time. It was nice to get in touch with you, to talk with you, to have a bit of fun with you also, and to also reflect ourselves a bit. And yeah, I advise everyone to get a look in the description with the link to your website and your Instagram. Yeah, to have a look on by Hyria Film. It's also really interesting. And thank you again for your time.
No, thank you for having me. I definitely enjoyed it. I look forward to connecting with you again in the future. I definitely want to come out to Berlin, so hopefully we can connect at that point too.
You're welcome. I mean, I'm open to meet for sure people I meet in the virtual world in Zoom.
Yeah.
So it's a really a pleasure for me that we can also go and shoot and then grab a coffee or what else.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, and if you want to learn more about us, you can visit the link allmylinks.com, Berlin Explorer, or our website beexproject.com. And if you want to follow us, you can always get news from Instagram on our account BEEX Project. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode.